My name is Emma Carter, and at 33 years old, I was living what many would call a stable, ordinary life. I worked as a school counselor in a quiet Michigan town. I had been married for 9 years to Ben, a kind and considerate man who worked from home in IT. We were the type of couple people described as steady. We didn't fight. We didn't raise our voices. But we also didn't really talk. There was no passion left, just silence. And not the comfortable kind. Evenings were spent side by side, eating dinner in silence, watching whatever show happened to be on, and going to bed with our backs turned to each other. It wasn't hostile, but it wasn't loving either. It was routine. Familiar. Me. Ben felt it too, though he rarely said anything. It was as if we both quietly accepted that this was just what marriage became after time. Then one evening something shifted. I had just finished folding laundry and was settling into the couch when Ben sat beside me, his expression unusually serious. He looked at me in a way I hadn't seen in years. "Emma," he began, voice low but clear, "I've been thinking." I looked up. "Thinking about what?" He paused for a long moment before answering. "The way things feel between us. I know you're not happy. I know I haven't connected with you in a long time." For a second I didn't respond. It was the first honest sentence I'd heard from him in ages. "You're right," I finally admitted. "This isn't working. And I don't know how to fix it." What he said next felt like both a punch and a strange kind of release. "I want to try something," he said cautiously. "Something different." I narrowed my eyes. "Different how?" He hesitated again, choosing his words with care. "I've read about couples trying new approaches, talking more openly, and sometimes even arranging experiences to reconnect when things have gone cold." My chest tightened. "You're not suggesting what I think you are you?" Ben looked down, clearly uncomfortable. "Just once. I want you to meet someone I choose. I'll be there too, not in a weird way. I want to understand what you need. I think it might help us." First I laughed out loud. Then tears followed. The idea sounded absurd, painful even. But underneath the confusion and hurt, something else stirred. Curiosity. And that terrified me. A week passed. I assumed he would drop it. But one evening, he quietly handed me a small slip of paper. On it was a name and a time. "His name is Ryan," Ben said. "I've talked to him. He understands the limits. He's safe." I didn't know whether to scream or walk away. But something deeper, something tangled in disappointment, longing, and maybe even hope, pulled me toward that meeting. The night arrived. Ryan was a composed man in his late 30s, tall, with kind eyes and a warm, steady presence. We met at a quiet Airbnb. Ben sat in the corner of the room, a glass of water in hand, looking more nervous than I felt. There were no games. No heat or sparks. No physical expectations. Just presence. Ryan asked how I'd really been feeling. And for the first time in years I spoke honestly. More honestly than I ever had with anyone, even my closest friends. I cried when he gently asked me what I missed about the person I used to be. I laughed when he joked about the odd awkwardness of life and adulthood. And in that quiet, vulnerable space, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Seen. At one point, Ryan reached for my hand and simply held it. Nothing more. But that touch broke something open inside me, something that had been locked away for far too long. Ben saw it too. He didn't speak, just slowly nodded, as if understanding something neither of us could explain. This wasn't about crossing lines. It was about letting go of the weight we had both been carrying. When we returned home, we didn't say much. But just before bed, Ben turned to me. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for trusting me, for trusting us. I didn't realize how much you were carrying." I nodded, tears in my eyes. "I didn't either." Over the next few weeks, something changed between us. We began to open up, truly open up, about our childhood wounds, our fears, our loneliness. The distance between us slowly shrank. Not because of what happened that night, but because we had finally broken through the silence that had ruled our marriage. Eventually, we started couples therapy. Not to repair something broken, but to build something new, something better. As for Ryan, I never saw him again. That night was never meant to be anything more. It wasn't about infidelity. It was about reflection. About facing truths we'd been too scared to speak aloud. So yes, the situation might sound strange, even shocking. But the truth is, the night Ben arranged wasn't a betrayal. It was a turning point. A moment that brought us back to ourselves. And to each other. Love doesn't always look like the movies. Sometimes it's confusing, uncomfortable, even painful. But that doesn't make it any less real. And if you're wondering, yes, Ben and I are still together. Stronger than ever. Because we finally stopped pretending and started telling the truth. Even when it hurt.